Hey, what's up, Internet? It is the end of the 7th day. Just about wrapping up the end of the week here in Ultimatum, and we'll probably only do like one more video after this. We are getting close to being done with everything. I had planned to do a bunch of these Maven invites today, but I decided that I wanted to gear up my heist numbers a bit to take more advantage of this inside job. Just to try some new things to farm this league. So I spent a lot of today in heist, leveling up rogues and gearing rogues and stuff. We still hit 97 today, and I think this might be the only new piece. I picked up a convoking wand, not ideal, but the price was too good and the stats were really nice. Allowed me to get trigger wand into our setup pretty easily. This is like a 10% DPS increase on top of that, so pretty worthwhile. Everything else I think is the same. I did try to go for my helmet enchant and boot enchant with some gift of the goddess, which didn't work out. I think I did like 3 runs, but I did get the mana regen on boots, which is okay. So it'll last me for a little while. At this point, so the other thing I wanted to do today was do some of these middle tree things. So we've got close allies. I have a depth tracker because I wanted to finish up my last couple of watchstones, the natural watchstones anyway, and I think when I finish this track I might also pick up the Sirus one before I kill him, because I won't be back to kill him for a while after that. So I might grab that, kill him, hopefully get a gem, and either way I'll probably take these points out. And this league I'm probably gonna spec both remnants and neural pathways. This being bumped up to 1% chance, it sounds small, but we're gonna be dropping, a fair amount of maps in Lyra, and maybe like turns if I just feel like doing some chill Alk and Go farming to take advantage of the exotic goods buff over there. And we might drop some Cortex or something. The other maps still sell pretty decently anyway. I already did so these points here in the middle were from Maven herself, which I did on video a couple days ago, and then I did the Breach Lords, because those were the hardest and I wanted a rematch with them. I did record that, my first go with them, and I might upload that. But it was nothing special. It was a close call a couple times, but I got them on the first try. So I feel a little bit avenged compared to last league. They were the only ones that killed me. I'm kind of doing them in reverse order. I felt like last league the Shaper and the Elder Guardians were the easier 4-ways, and now I've done the hardest, other than the Feared, in Breach Lords, and I'm getting ready here to do the Maven's invitation for the Forgotten, which is the synthesis bosses outside of Cortex. Now I'm only doing these blue for the first time because I really want to make sure I get these skill points done, but after that, I usually try to juice them up with a little bit. It does increase the amount of splinters you get for the Maven fight, and gives you a little bit better odds of getting uniques. I don't remember this one being too bad. I just remember wanting to get the golem out pretty quick. So that's probably what I'm going to do, is just sit on this guy for a minute. So it looks like we got the golem out pretty easily. I'd like to get rid of the other one here. Let's not get too hasty. I think the third one's dead too. Oh. Not sure what you're doing over there, sir. I'll let him sit over there and do whatever that was. 4 splitters and a watchstone, a few synth items. There's not much you can really get from these guys. I guess we got like the weird text bug. Now, like I said, for these two, I think I'm going to grab the Sirus just until I kill Sirus for this next time. Because like I said, I don't think I'll be back to fight him for a little while. And then after that, I'll probably spec into Remnants and neural pathways. I might come all the way over here into Gaze into the Abyss if I have more than one Elder set to do. Like if I can sit and do 2 or 3 Elder sets, something like that. I don't think I'll be investing into Master the Atlas this league. I did last league and it was super powerful because it gave you a lot more harvests. But this league, harvest without Atlas skill nodes is pretty bad. Harvest with skill nodes is kind of bad. So harvest that doesn't use your Atlas, like it uses her Atlas, and it's just stock harvest, pretty not good. The only thing I'd really be looking for here is like a Cortex, which they nerfed the rate of synthesis maps from her. So I just don't see why I would come into these nodes anymore on the Zona line, unfortunately. It's pretty much going to be down to Remnants of the Past, Guardian's Aid, Gaze into the Abyss. I think these Shaper Elder ones kept their value. I actually think the Sirus ones were underrated last league, especially the +1 to Awakening. People felt that was not good, but it depends on what you're doing. If you're sitting there spamming Atoll, or this league, I'll probably be spamming, you know, something down here in Lyra or Turns or Glenok, more than up in top left. But anytime you're sitting there spamming a particular zone and mapping, I think the Awakening level is not bad. We'll also probably grab Secrets of the Stones if I farm as many Watchstones as I did last league. So yeah, it's been it was a pretty chill day. I didn't stream quite as long as I normally have the past few days. I think the amount of time I've put into the league is kind of starting to catch up to me a little bit, and I'm getting a little bit I don't know, I won't say burnt out, but I'm definitely getting a little bit tired of the Ultimatum League mechanic in maps. I wish I were seeing more inscribed ultimatums and less, you know, the league depending on the in-map version, because it feels very, like I mentioned in the last league start video, it feels very like thoughtless, I guess. Like you took a Delirium's worth of maps and crammed them into a ritual-sized circle. And, you know, it seemed like this was going to be the cooler version of Ritual. I'm not really sure that's the case the more I play it. I feel like Ritual might be the cooler Ritual, and Ultimatum is sort of like a cross between that and Delirium that doesn't feel as compelling, I guess. It feels very risky compared to what it's putting out in maps. I think, especially if you overlap it with Delirium overlapping an Ultimatum in a tier 16 map is probably the rippiest thing that's ever existed in this game. And I don't think it's worth the 10 Chaos or even the 1 Exalt he might offer you. But yeah, I'm still enjoying the league, but I feel like in a lot of ways people are kind of right when they say this is just sort of like the sequel to Ritual, and sequels are often not as good as the original, and that it feels a bit like the case here. I do appreciate the improvements to like party play for the league mechanic. They intentionally, you know, made some good improvements to playing the league mechanic of party, which is nice, and I hope they continue that trend. But as a solo player, getting to this point in progression felt a lot more rewarding. It was a lot easier, I think, for me to justify the amount of time it took to grind out this level of Atlas and beyond, because once you got here, it felt like it was flourishing, right? There was a ton of things you could choose to do, and all of it felt really important. This league, there's so many nerfs to reward structure and stuff that it feels a bit like if you aren't here, you're wasting your time, right? The stuff between just getting the maps and Awakener level 8, it feels a little bit too grindy and too long. And I feel like a lot of the progression, especially stuff like, you know, the things that close allies or Zana, stuff that's interacting with some of these master missions, it feels like that needs to be coming into progression a little bit earlier, I guess, and it's more noticeable this league than it was last league when this was all new. It's really starting to feel like the Atlas progression is getting too long in the tooth, and it's getting too backloaded, right? It's too the payoff's waiting too long, right? There's not enough like steps of progression, it feels like, in between there. And I think some of that just needs to get drawn back into these master mechanics, right? I think the things that you can juice up and progress seem to come back in progression. Maybe that just means Maven being accessible earlier or something. I'm not sure, but it does feel like the Atlas progression, you know, it feels like you finally get to Awaken Rate and all these skill points, and it's like, oh, now I can finally start playing Path of Exile, and that's not really how it should feel, I think. So there's some bumps in the road of endgame progression right now that I hope get smoothed out. I do want to mention that I did fight the Trialmaster for the first time early this morning off stream. I did record it, so I will upload that to my channel sometime in the next like 48 hours. It was kind of uneventful. It was a little bit tense because I always try to do those new fights blind, and there was an Exalt on my wave 9, and I wasn't expecting to just run into him. So I was like, well, I gotta go fight this new boss and lose a bunch of stuff, including an Exalted Orb. But I managed to get him, so I'll upload that in its entirety. It's not a particularly long fight. To the channel here very shortly. Anyway, I think tomorrow will probably be the end of my League Start series, considering, you know, most of my Atlas progression is done. I kind of skipped ahead and killed Maven, but the only thing on this list that I think has any question mark to it is the Feared. And I'm pretty sure I could do that tomorrow if I really wanted to. Even if I wind up dying once or twice, I don't think there's much risk of me bricking that encounter at this point. I've probably got a little over 6 million Shaper DPS, so a fight like that, like, you can't quite brute force it down, but it's enough to guarantee, I think, getting through it. So last League Start video will be tomorrow, but I'll be continuing to stream for a while. I'll probably be moving back to a 3 to 4 day a week schedule here starting next week, so that I can, you know, get my own schedule back to normal a little bit. But if you do want to find me, you can come over to Twitch at twitch.tv/WallachTV. I typically stream starting around like 1 to 2 p.m. Pacific. Otherwise, I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.